Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session at the NSF ATE PI Conference for 2021. My name is Marilyn Barger. I'm the director of FLATE, the Florida Advanced Technological Education Center, which is now part of the Florida Makes Network and previously funded as an NSF ATE Regional Center for Manufacturing in the state of Florida. Today, our topic is dual enrollment for advanced manufacturing and mechatronics programs. And we have a panel of 4 who are going to talk to you about their programs and the ins and outs and what they have done to develop those programs and make them successful. First of all, a little bit about dual enrollment, so we're all on the same page. This particular kind of program allows high school students opportunities to enroll in post-secondary courses for credit and get their high school degrees and their post-secondary credit at the same time. So there's lots of variations on this theme of how it actually works, and that's what we'll be hearing about today. It's a great way to build your pipeline. So for some background, there are some issues at the colleges. We have to set some eligibility criteria. There could be transportation issues, the cost, the tuition cost, where does that come from? Who pays for that? The quality of the courses, making sure the students in dual enrollment programs are ready for the next course after the ones they get credit for while they're in high school. And then we do have an equity issue still. The dual enrollment has a big impact on completion rates for students, but we don't have very many enrolled in those programs. So that's something we can all work on going forward. And next, here is our panel. We have from Florida State College in Jacksonville, Doug Brower. From Gadsden State Community College in Alabama, Andy Roberson. From Central Community College in Nebraska, Doug Pauley. And from South Central College in Minnesota, Doug Lavin. So all 4 of these folks have been running dual enrollment programs for their mechatronics or advanced manufacturing programs. And we're going to start with Doug Brower. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Doug. You want to get started?
Thank you, Marilyn. We've got at Florida State College at Jacksonville, we've got a program where our students come through and actually complete with an Associate of Science degree in engineering technology. One of the nice things that we have are wonderful partnerships. So we partner very closely with the Duval County Public Schools in identifying and bringing in the dual enrollment students. But at each of the schools that we participate with, they would have an academy. An example of a good program we have relationship is with the Englewood High School, which is part of Duval County Public Schools. Their engineering academy is actually sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. And so it ends up being a very unique partnership between Florida State College, Duval County Public Schools, the Englewood High School, and Johnson & Johnson. So key attributes that we have out there, we run about 80 students through from Englewood High School, and they do go through their junior and senior year, and they will finish up as they graduate from high school. They will finish up with an Associate of Science degree in engineering technology. But in addition to that, going through the academics, a key part of this is the internship opportunity that they have with Johnson & Johnson. And I have to say that I'm absolutely just amazed at how Johnson & Johnson has stepped up in the actual real life tasks and roles that these high school kids get involved in at Johnson & Johnson. It's really remarkable. Along with that internship, as the students go through the coursework, they're able to get other certifications. So they're putting industry recognized certifications in their back pocket as they go out. OSHA certification is one of those, robotic certifications that are there, NC3, different certifications. The students pick these things up as they go through the coursework. And the faculty have been very good about making sure that the timing is correct and linked to the coursework as they go through. Other states, statewide technical certificates that they pick up, engineering technology support specialist technical certificate. They're able to pick up as they go through this coursework, the Mechatronics technical certificate, and then also the pneumatics, hydraulics, and motors technical certificate. So they have not only the degree, but they have technical certificates that they're picking up along the way, along with industry certifications. So it makes a very comprehensive and skill-based and experiential learning opportunity for these students that are going through. So this is the typical schedule that we have out there. So they will pick up in their freshman and sophomore year at the high school level. They will pick up the gen eds as they're going through, right? So that fills out the degree. But it's very laid out and structured. So the fall and spring in your junior year, you have coursework that you go through and they sign up, and then also your senior year, they're going through coursework. Typically, the courses will run from 8 to 12 in the morning. We'll run these in a hybrid format, so they will run for 7 weeks and conclude a session, and then they will have a second session, the second half of the full semester, where they'll finish up additional coursework. So they will progress through into 2 years in a very structured and disciplined approach to be able to finish up that Associate of Science degree and all of the certifications and the technical certificates along the way. So I mentioned the Johnson & Johnson being the sponsor of the Englewood High School Engineering Academy. And one of the key things that they bring to the table are the internship opportunities that typically happen between your junior and senior year. And these kids, they're there at the factory. And what is here in Jacksonville is the Johnson & Johnson Vision. It essentially, that's where they manufacture contact lenses. It happens to be the largest manufacturing center for contact lenses in the world. And so it's a very big space, lots of automation, high technology that's in play. But they've got a wonderful opportunity where they go through. They actually get out there, work with engineers in a vast variety of areas, not only design and data collection, but they get involved in the reliability engineering work. And then kind of one of the neat things that they have at the end of this is a lot of teaming activities, right? So at the end of this opportunity, they do have a robotic competition where the students actually work with other engineers within Johnson & Johnson. They designed robots, and they have a contest where they have to go through and do different tasks and compete against each other. But a lot of fun, very exciting, wonderful opportunity for the students. And I'm really impressed that Johnson & Johnson is able to step up. One of the things that we do as a whole for all of us is we do a lot of grants work. So when you look at, we're talking about the NSF and our enrollment activities there, we've got 5 NSF grants ongoing right now, and other grants that are out there, like every institution out there. But we leverage these not only for the traditional students, but we leverage all of these opportunities for the dual enrollment students to expose them to the latest technologies across a vast variety of programs. It's just not the engineering technology, but we like to look where there's commonality, the advanced technologies that cross through the automotive programs, the aviation programs, and all that. So we do leverage all of our grants and enable the dual enrollment students to interact with other students that have other interests so that they can see how the technology translates from one industry to another. We don't stop there. We keep looking as things obviously run out. We do, try to refill the hopper with grants. So we roughly have anywhere going from, $3 to $5 million of grants going within the department. So we were really excited about the opportunities that creates for the dual enrollment students along the way. Well, that takes us off. I'm going to hand this off to Andy Robertson to talk about his programs.
Hey guys, thank you again very much for being with us today. So I'm Andy Robertson. I'm the coordinator of workforce development at Gadsden State Community College. I'm going to talk to you about our Mechatronics, Robotics, and Automation program. It's a new curriculum that we just started this fall, as a matter of fact. We combined two programs, our electronic engineering and industrial automation, and kind of combined those two courses and was able to pick and choose and modify our curriculum to come up with what we feel like is a very strong competitive program now that helps cross-train technicians. We have two locations for our school that we offer mechatronics. One location is at our East Broad campus in Gadsden, Alabama. The other is at our Ayers campus in Anniston, Alabama. With this, we offer an AAS degree in the mechatronics, robotics, and automation. And we also offer two advanced short-term certificates, one in advanced automation and the other in advanced robotics. So some of the things that, with this being a new program for us, we currently have about 30 students enrolled as dual enrollment in mechatronics, robotics, and automation. Part of the thing that's different or unique with us, we try to have students come to our campus for this instruction. I know some schools do it differently. We do that. And we also have started offering these classes on site at high schools or some career tech centers. So that's kind of something we're doing a little differently. At coming to college for us, we have 30 students, like I said, currently enrolled. While they're taking these courses with us, some of the things they can get from us through the classes, they can get a FANUC robot programming certification and tool handling. We also, with our advanced robotics, now have the IR Vision certification. So they can actually take the advanced robotics class with us and actually able to receive industry recognized certifications, so they can get those as well. And like I mentioned previously, we have a AAS degree in mechatronics and the two short-term certificates. One is in the advanced automation, the other is in advanced robotics. And something I'd talk about here with us for our dual enrollment, for us, we allow students to start in 10th grade. So they can start in 10th grade with us, so they can come 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. Sometimes that allows us, then we have students sometimes that graduate our program actually before they can graduate high school, which puts students in a tremendous advantage because they actually have a college degree and some industry recognized certifications by the same time or sooner than they're graduating high school. So they're actually ready to go into the workforce and, like I said, be able to go in and start on entry-level positions. Part of the way we also help achieve this at Gadsden State, we have an advanced college enrollment scholarship, or called our ACE scholarship, that will pay for 2 classes every semester for students. So that way, if they qualify with a 2.0 GPA and fill out the proper paperwork, they are guaranteed to take 2 classes for free. So that also helps us be able to have students come maybe with a lower income, or just help us remove some barriers and able to try to enroll and make this program more accessible to students on the high school level. So I put our dual enrollment schedule, and I didn't put, say, starting fall or spring, because some of these first semester and second semester courses we offer every semester, so that we do allow students to come in at fall, spring, or summer, so they could start our program anytime. Typically, dual enrollment will start in the fall semester. So they would start with us taking DC fundamentals, our intro to engineering technology, and electrical blueprint reading. But again, I want to emphasize, we teach those same courses every semester. So if a student, for whatever reason, didn't get their paperwork filled out or was not ready to start in the fall, we would turn around and offer those same classes again in the spring to give students the opportunity. If they did take those classes first semester or second semester for us, then they would progress to AC fundamentals, our principles of technology, which is an applied physics course, and our wiring methods course, to start getting them introduced even more to electricity and different ways to different wiring methods, obviously. Third semester with us, then they would come in and take our industrial motor controls, hydraulics and pneumatics, and intro to robot programming. This intro to robot programming is our tool handling, where they would actually then be able to potentially achieve a FANUC certification. And then our fourth semester, if again, now this is laid out assuming it's juniors and seniors come in only taking fall and spring classes. But then the fourth semester, they would take solid state electronics, our AC/DC machines, and intro to programmable logic controllers. We're going to introduce them to PLCs and how to program and troubleshoot and do various things with those. We would continue our coursework, obviously based on what a student was able to take, and if they were able to take more than the 3 classes a semester. But we typically gear everything knowing that they're coming to us probably half a day. So we get these classes in half a day for them to return to school. And they can also take academics with us online while they're taking these career tech courses as well. So I kind of combined all mine into one. So some of the schools that we serve and the challenges and kind of the innovative practice that I feel like we're trying to do are some things that we're doing here at Gadsden State. We work with about 15 different high schools that are near the 2 campus locations. So it's several different high schools, and some of those, like I said, we now are offering these programs and classes at 2 career tech centers. So we have actually put a full-time instructor at a career tech center. And for us, a career tech center is where all the high schools feed into one location, would typically be called a career tech school. So we have an instructor there that is also serving that I did not count in our 30 students. So we have him, we have other various high schools that will have teachers that are doing adjunct work there as well. So we're able to serve several different high schools and students with our mechatronics program and several other career tech programs as well. But I know we're concentrating on mechatronics today. One of the biggest challenges for us that we encounter with the dual enrollment is transportation for students to the campus. Some of the students aren't old enough to drive, or some of the schools don't allow students to leave campus. So we do have some schools that run buses to us that bus students, but transportation is a big issue for us that we're constantly trying to overcome and face those challenges and do what we can to accommodate and get students to come to our campus, which is why I said we have led to now offering more of these classes on different high school or career tech centers to try to help overcome this transportation issue as well. And I spoke about it briefly before, but one of the barriers that we did to try to get more students enrolled and interested in the mechatronics, previously for any career tech program, they had to have a 2.5 GPA to be enrolled in a career tech dual enrollment. We were able to get that lower to 2.0 so that now students with a 2.0, which gives us a little better opportunity. And I'm sure most of you will know as well, the mechatronics students is going to be your students that are more hands-on, that sometimes might perform better, going to perform better in our classes with the labs and all the hands-on learning that we're doing, where they might not have had a 2.5 GPA in traditional high school theory-based classes. So it really helps us, in our opinion, to be able to offer and reach more students and get more students involved in career tech and mechatronics as well. Yes, so I'm going to turn it over to Doug Pauley.
Hello, I'm Doug Pauley, Associate Dean for Training and Development. I primarily work with business and industry, but in this project, I am working with the academic side of the house quite a bit, and it's an exciting project. We have been part of NSF grants for probably about 20 years now. We just finished up one with mechatronics with instrumentation. We also have a plastic injection molding grant, and we are been asked to be part of the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing. So we're excited about that. This project is a collaborative project between South Central College in Minnesota and Central Community College. We actually started brainstorming about this project 2 years ago at the PI conference. And so it's interesting to see how a project can come along after just a brainstorming session from a conference like the PI conference. Our goal was to get 6 schools in each region, 6 in Minnesota and 6 in Nebraska. And we were successful in trying to do that. In Minnesota, we actually ended up with 5 schools, and the schools are spread out probably 75 miles. They are very rural. And we have the school size ranges from 25 to 250 students per class. In Nebraska, our region is a little bit longer. We have 170 miles between one of our schools and the next school to the east. We had many schools that have been continuing to ask this to be part of this project, but again, we had to limit the number of schools that we had involved. We started out thinking we would have 10 to 12 students per school. We actually ended up with a lot more students than that. We have 180 schools between Minnesota and Nebraska. The 4 web-based courses that we are introducing are concepts of electronics, intro to instrumentation, intro to PLCs, and industrial sensors. And Doug Lavin will be talking more about the hands-on components that we are doing with these courses a little bit later. When we selected the schools, we needed commitment from the top administration within the school. And so we went to the schools and we talked with the schools. First thing we required was having them assign a teacher, a facilitator to the classroom. In most cases, those high school teachers do not meet the credentials to be a college instructor, but we needed somebody in the classroom to help facilitate it. We ended up with math teachers, science teachers, industrial tech teachers, project lead the way teachers, but those were the teachers within those 6 schools in each of our regions that we had asked for. They needed to commit classroom space, storage space, because we were going to have a trainer for every student available. They had to have computers available to the students, and they had to be willing to market the classes to their internal students. We offer 1 course each semester the first year. And so we start out with concepts of electronics and then go into intro to instrumentation. The second year of the program, we will offer 2 more courses, but so they will have to offer 2 courses that semester, each semester. And the first semester of the second year would be concepts and then PLCs. And so that those first year students could continue on. The high school facilitators, teachers needed to agree to attend 6 days of professional development programs available during the summer for those teachers. And it was only available to students that were interested in college credit. The students will receive high school credit, but we only were going to take the students that were actually going to pay for the college credit. Some of the lessons we learned, it was really hard to get a final commitment from the teachers, from the schools, from the counselors, on how many students were going to be in the classes. Some schools prepared much ahead of time, but there were some schools, classes were started and they were still adjusting schedules for the high school. And so that made it difficult for us to know how many of the training equipment that we needed in the classroom. We needed to have very engaged facilitators, was very critical in the classroom so that they would help the students keep on track. And I think that this was really critical in teaching this lecture web-based course as a group versus just teaching it individually. If it was individually, they wouldn't need a facilitator, but having 20 kids in the classroom at once, they needed a facilitator to help keep things on track. It was a great way to expose students to mechatronics and instrumentation careers, and our business partners really love this. When we had our build meeting, they were so excited because most high schools had no way of introducing mechatronics or instrumentation careers. This was a great way to do that. Another thing that we learned was getting the facilitators access to the learning management system. Central Community College uses Canvas and South Central uses D2L. And it was hard to get them so that they would have access to the grades, to everything in the system, just because of FERPA rules. Finally, we got past that. We had the students had to sign off on it. And so now all of our facilitators, as well as our adjunct faculty, have access to those courses and can answer questions as the students progress. we had to reduce some of the reading material that we gave in our traditional classes. And we did that by increasing the number of videos and the hands-on lab activities that we are doing. We understood that the students weren't probably going to read 30 to 40 pages. And so we were doing shorter videos about that. I'm going to turn it over to Doug Lavin from South Central College now, and he can tell you a little bit more about the program.
Thank you, Doug. Like Doug said, my name is Doug Lavin. I'm from South Central College in Mankato, Minnesota. I've been at the institution probably about 12 years. Before that, I was in industry in the packaging segment doing small electronic parts for an international company. So that afforded me to travel around the world and get to know other cultures and learn how to build some of the machines that we're using in this grant. As Doug mentioned, we have these 4 courses, and the first one that we decided to go with was the concept of electronics. And this particular class allows students to learn how to use hand tools. And the unique thing about this grant is we're actually putting this equipment into the classroom along with the students. So it's more than just this online delivery. They actually have the materials right there in class with them. So I'm going to jump ahead because Doug already talked about instrumentation and PLCs and sensors, but we'll show some graphics here in a moment showing that. So one of the things that we feel pretty strongly about is the philosophy of the delivery. As Doug mentioned, we have facilitators in the classroom that work with the instructors of record. And because we're physically not there with the students on a day-to-day basis, we want to make sure that this whole concept of discovery through reflection is understood in the classroom. So basically, these are just some different words for our labs, our homework, our quizzes, the discussion, how these students, when they're building something, they're using critical thinking skills. So this is just a little logo that we came up with to show this progression through the classroom. The first machine that goes along with the concepts of electronics is this trainer. And we have a mix of push buttons and terminal blocks, power supplies that you would find in industry. The back plane is made by a fabricator located in Columbus, Nebraska, a partner of the grant. We also have what some teachers and students would identify at the bottom of the trainer as a breadboard. So we're mixing those 2 worlds of electronics. So we get them as quickly as possible off those breadboards and into more of the industrial setting that they'll see when they get jobs out in industry. So this board is very expandable. It's also going to be used for our PLC concepts training when we move into that to save cost. One of the things that makes our program successful is what we've named white glove videos. And what's unique about these is we advertise for our partners that are out there. Now, this particular video is talking about terminal blocks, and we showcase on the left hand both schools, and then of course NSF and our IMEC logo on the right hand. But if we have programs like with Fluke and DiStar and Rockwell and others where we actually put their logo on the glove as well. So, but these little short videos, as Doug mentioned, we didn't want our students to get bored with reading and watching lengthy video lectures. So we put together under 3-minute videos on any kind of topics. It could be these terminal blocks. It could be how to put a ferrule on a wire. It could be how to use the meter. And we've made them just in some cases just for 1 minute. And the students get a lot out of that, and they can be very successful with their lab. So the second trainer that we're going to be delivering this year is our instrumentation trainer. And this is highly successful because one of our build partners down in Nebraska, the concept came from a different layout, but this one is made out of stainless steel. And on this particular system is all kinds of things like sensors, and we have a temp controller on it and a pump, and we have proportional valving, and we also have terminal blocks and circuit breakers. This machine links into the original trainer through this port over to another port over here. So the students are going to learn connectivity. Now, this particular slide does show the PLC built onto it. And again, as I mentioned, we did this to save money. So the one trainer could double up as a circuits trainer for electricity and also the PLC trainer. A lot of the same buttons that you see here will be used with the PLC. And then the communication will be between this port over to the instrumentation trainer. Coming soon is going to be our sensors training class, and it'll be built on kind of the same platform where we'll introduce to the student all these basic different switches and proximity sensors that they may find out in industry. And we'll also be able to tie those back to the circuits board. So all these trainers will interact with each other depending on what part of the program they're in. And then again, we have a nice program running with Rockwell, and we're going to be using the 850 series PLC. It's one of their latest and greatest. And we're going to be not really turning our students into programmers as much as just teaching them the basics of how to automate that instrumentation trainer. So some of the things that we'll do is just basic interfacing, how to connect the devices together, discrete inputs and outputs, and we'll also get into analog because in instrumentation, we need to understand analog circuits and how those temperatures and those types of things, pressures can be monitored with a PLC. Doug mentioned that we had some training. These are some of our facilitators working in workshops. The one nice thing about the collaboration between the Nebraska school and the Minnesota school is some of the instructors who couldn't make the one session drove to the other session and took part. So that tells us that we can replicate this across the board. So when other schools are interested in speaking with us about how we've done this, we know it can be successful to move this from campus to campus. So, and I'm going to turn this back over to Marilyn.
Great. Thank you, everyone, all four of you, for telling us the stories about your dual enrollment program. We did hear about your different program structures. There was quite a variety there. Lots of different ideas for delivery amongst the schools involved. Some of the logistics, and heard about some challenges, lots of those dealing with other institutions. And what about the innovations? But lastly, I want to ask about the rewards. Does anyone have some comment about the number of students? Do they continue, so they get a program degree or certificate at the college? Do they stay for more classes, or are they employed right away? I guess I'd like to ask Doug Brower about the students and at the Johnson & Johnson program. What happens when they finish their program? Do some of them go to work for J&J, or?
Sure, Marilyn, that's the one of the goals for Johnson & Johnson is that they are cultivating their future workforce. So they certainly would like students to, when they finish up with their associate's degree, they can go and become employed with Johnson & Johnson. You'll also have students, depending on their, where they're directed to in terms of family expectations, if you will. Some of those students will go on to four-year university and actually go through an engineering program, but they can also stay at Florida State College of Jacksonville, where we have 13 bachelor degree programs that they can jump in, and a lot of students will take their AS degree and be able to finish up with a bachelor's degree in business. So it really kind of depends on where they want to do and what they see as the career path.
Is there I don't know how long the program has been running, but is there like a certain number every year that the J&J would hire, or do they go to other Johnson & Johnson facilities perhaps, or any of those options for those students?
Well, with the Johnson & Johnson, they would stay within Jacksonville. That's certainly the first point of contact. But once they've made the connection with Johnson & Johnson, if they would go on and finish a four-year degree, then they stay connected with Johnson & Johnson and certainly are recruited at that point. But they can immediately, upon finishing the Associate of Science degree, become employed at Johnson & Johnson there in Jacksonville. And again, that's one of the largest factories in the world in terms of what they're producing there, contact lenses and other vision products.
Okay, great, thank you. And just confirm that that's a kind of cohort model. Does the students go through that program together?
They all go through together. The courses themselves, they can be mixed with traditional students. So depending on if there are spots available, there is the possibility for traditional students to engage with the dual enrollment students in those morning 8 to 12 sessions. So there is interaction. Once they're college students at FSCJ, they can be mixed with everybody else.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And Andy, I had a question for you about your the transportation issue that you brought up. You said that moving the courses to the career centers made it easier for the students to get there and for you to access more students. Does the school district, I guess it would be, provide transportation to those career centers, and that's why that's a good opportunity for you? Or do the students still have to get there like they would have to get to one of the 2 college campuses?
No, Marilyn, you're exactly right. That's what did make this better, is because each high school does bus their students to the central hub or the career center. So that's what did help us overcome this obstacle, because like I mentioned, some high schools around us do not have a career center to bus students to, so they bus them to our campuses. The ones that do have a career center, they are bused to that career center. So that allowed us then to come implement or put in place instructors on site for them to help us overcome that transportation issue. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. And I'd like to ask all 4 of you to kind of quickly answer this question, the enrollment piece of mixing students. So we have your students mixed, the high school and college students, Andy? I heard from Doug, I think, so he said yes, that could happen. Doug Brower, that is.
When they come to us, yes, we have tried to have classes set up before just strictly for dual enrollment, and that seemed to always be an issue for us. So we actually have class times, so we do not isolate or keep it just for dual enrollment. We let them, it can be dual enrollment mixed with regular students. And we found that seems to work pretty good, because sometimes they kind of see, we have sometimes some non-traditional students in these classes that maybe work at night and they're coming to school during the daytime. So it kind of works pretty good, because it's almost like they have a big brother, a role model in the classes. So it kind of helps them to take it more serious, I would say, and also just helps them if they have a question. It's more like you might not want to ask your teacher, but you're fine going and asking your big brother or something. So that it kind of works pretty good, kind of like a mentor, sort of. It's kind of unofficially a mentor in the class. So it seems to work pretty good.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. And I think the Minnesota and Nebraska programs are obviously all high school students, because they actually take place in the high schools themselves. But what an amazing program. So were you able to have equipment for all those students when you had so many more than you anticipated at the start? Doug?
Well, we are currently providing, because that was one of our commitments to the schools, that we would provide equipment for every school, every student. And so at this point, I'm using some of my existing budget to help buy that. Our goal is to get industry to help finance part of the equipment as well. And we do have a couple industries that are very interested in helping us finance part of the equipment as well.
Wow, that's an awesome solution. We love that. Is there any other last comments you would like to make, anyone, about your programs, or anything else you want to chime in on?
Marilyn,
Yeah.
Doug Laban. One of the things that I like to bring up is, one of the goals of our grant, at least, was to fill this pipeline and get kids interested in careers in mechatronics. And I've gotten feedback from a couple of our high school facilitators that there's been generated interest in the classroom in the hallway with this whole mechatronics thing that's out there. So we feel very confident that we might get a percentage of these students coming in to the program at the college. So that is a very high point of this offering. So happy to hear that feedback.
That's great. It's early in your program. This is the first semester, so time will tell. We'll have to check back with your success on that in both of your cases. So they get 3, 6, no, they're getting 4 courses a total?
Total of 12 credits if they take all
Okay.
4 courses.
Okay.
We do have a few sophomores that are enrolling in it, but they had to have a special exception.
Okay.
But it's primarily geared to juniors and seniors.
And who's paying the tuition for you, Doug Polly, since you're on right now?
Well, in Nebraska, we have a couple places where they're coming up with tuition. The college made a policy, since it was a special project, to reduce tuition to $15 per credit hour. And then we also have Buffalo County Economic Development, and Parker is also paying tuition, covering the $15 per credit hour for some of our students.
Doug
In
Lake?
Minnesota, Doug, you want to address how that's paid?
Yeah, we do the standard PSEO where the students, they're just, it's a dual enrollment. So there's a partnership, but that's paid out of other grants and other funding 100%. So.
Okay, through the state or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy? I think you touched on this already.
Yes, I was going to say, we have state funding, and ours is called the Advanced College Enrollment Scholarship, or ACE scholarship, and they pay for 2 classes every semester. So that way students are provided with that, and if they take the 2 technical, they're also allowed to take an academic course in addition to that as well. So it can help pay for career tech and also academic courses. Yes, ma'am.
Very nice, very nice. And how about you, Doug Brower? Is Johnson & Johnson funding this, for example?
Johnson & Johnson's not paying for the tuition that comes from the high school the system, that money is paid for each of the students coming out of the academy.
Okay.
Johnson & Johnson, they provide a lot of time and input and other resources to support the program, including their own personnel that are engaging with the students. So that's where Johnson & Johnson plays.
I want to thank everyone for your great information about your dual enrollment programs and these relatively new ideas for using dual enrollment in technical programs in lots of different ways. We talked about today for engaging students with those hands-on necessary skills that they have to learn during these technical programs. It's not like teaching English as a dual enrollment course, for example. We need a lot of props to get through through these different courses. So great ideas to share, and hopefully we're helping to fill the workforce needs in all of our different communities. So thank you all.